A little bit of a foggy morning at Henderson Beach State Park. So we came and cooked breakfast under the pavilion after camping out almost, I guess, about an hour away from here. And so we're kind of exploring a little bit, waiting for hopefully the sun to kind of push some of this fog away and give us a nice day on the beach. But they have this 7/10 of a mile nature trail here. Not a lot of hiking from what I could tell here at Henderson Beach State Park, but obviously it's most known for the beach. But this is a pretty awesome little dune area. So we'll keep exploring. Science rocks. Peace.
If you lose the pass to the third-party option, stay in the grand driver, and he or she will stop. Return to a house. While awaiting your visit to the beach, please stay safe and remain at the beach toll-free by returning all of your trash successfully located at the grand stop. Before entering the water, make sure to take hold of the beach flood warning system and always be conscious.
State Park. It's our second state park on this trip. I think the only one where you can't park at the beach, so we take this tram. from the beach here in Topsail Hill Preserve State Park. I'm sure with the plane and the wind, you can't pick up on the sound of the ocean waves, the gentle rustling of the pine needles here. Came from like the edge of a coastal dune lake, and maybe there's only a few spots in the world that these things are formed at, but basically I think the dunes build up and trap in water, and then in periodic events those dunes bust open and that water drains out to sea, and then I guess reforms in this area. Pretty interesting. You know, that wave energy from the ocean and what it's really doing. The beaches here we're in the Destin area, camped in Point Washington State Forest, but we've been making these day trips to these state parks, which my daughters are playing in the ocean right now, and my wife's chilling in a chair catching some sun. And it has trails here that I can sneak away and get on for a few minutes. But this area is super well known for how soft this white sand is, and it's a quartz based sand, which is the result of weathering and erosion of the Appalachian Mountains, you know, over the past millions of years. But specifically, I guess, in the last 20,000 years, this huge bit of quartz has been weathered and eroded down the southern Appalachian Mountains, eventually along the Apalachicola River, if I've said that correctly, and dumped these quartz chunks out into the sea here, and then the wave energy just keeps picking those quartz minerals up and busting them against each other and against other things and breaking them down into their individual quartz crystals. Ultimately getting thrown up against the shoreline to make these white quartz sand dunes, and they've formed big enough to trap in water and form a lake, a rather large lake. Maybe we'll hike to it later today. We don't have plans, so it's awesome for a beach time to not have plans. But I'm gonna head back out on the beach for a little bit. Cool little short trail here. Actually ran into a section right at the edge of the lake that says it was closed for protecting plants and restoration, so I didn't cross over that point. Turned around, so it was a nice short trail. Alright, I'm heading back to the beach. state park number 3 on this spring break trip. We're at Grayton Beach State Park. Actually the closest park to, or at least of the ones that we're going to, the closest to our campsite. So that's kind of nice. I just popped off, like I've tried to at all the beaches, on one of the nature trails, just to kind of get to experience some of the coastal forest and dunes. Every time I've stepped off on one of these trails and left the beach behind, like, it's just been real magical. So I'm pretty lucky to get this chance, and I'll head back to the beach. My wife and kids are set up there, and they didn't want to do this walk, so I said I'd do it. So kind of come through that I just showed you, that live oak forest, and then out onto these dunes. Like I said, we're camped not far from here. We're camped pretty close to Eastern Lake. The campground's called the Eastern Lake Campground number 1. And I believe this over there is Western Lake. It's been amazing. I know, people come to these spots because of the beach. You don't call a state park Grayton Beach State Park if the beach isn't the number 1 attraction. But I've always been surprised at how few people do the nature trails, or maybe it's just the timing that I've been on them, but I'm super appreciative of that. Those are up pretty high. There's 2, I think, might be F-15s. It's been a few different fighter jets flying over just since we've been here the past 45 minutes or so, and on those other state parks this week too. I know there's Air Force as well as Navy bases around here. I know my brother-in-law came down to do part of his I guess basic training boot camp kind of thing down here. I'm kind of guessing that on the other side of this dune field that I'm crossing, it's going to enter some more coastal forest, maybe a little bit more pine, it looks like, than the live oak, or maybe a good mix of both. I'll show you a little bit of that section, and then I'll maybe head back to the beach. kind of unique. Instead of wood chips or gravel or dirt or sand, they're securing the trail with seashells. I guess you use the resources you have in abundance. It's pretty awesome. It's got a nice little crunch to it as you walk too. Alright, well, I'm gonna keep on this trail and head back to the beach. Science rocks. Peace. Like the other state parks on this spring break trip, St. Andrews State Park has some short trails that are just a really nice change of scenery from the beach and a chance to get away, although this park's much busier than the other three we've been to, and so there's actually people out on this trail. I think every other time I've gone walking, there hasn't been anybody with me, so not a lot of people take advantage of it, but it's pretty cool. This is the Gator Lake Trail, and it's tiny. It's like 3/10 of a mile total in a loop, but it's got lots of birds that are kind of hanging out on this island just over here that we'll try to get a view of in a second. We saw a Gator Lake, go figure. Saw an alligator swim over there this morning when we first arrived. All four of us did this hike earlier today, but just kind of going back because it's late afternoon. Can only take so much beach time. Yeah, it'd be tiny on the GoPro back there, but that island just has lots of pelican, white egrets, great blue heron, and hinga cormorants. I may be misidentifying some of those, but just a variety of some of the biggest seabirds around here. And then the live oak forested dune here has a lot of the smaller birds too. Like, it's just really been cool to see all the birds. Kind of walking on this peninsula between Gator Lake and this marsh over here, but all of it's really cool. So, well, that's a nice little hike here in St. Andrews. Science rocks.
Daddy, can you carry me on your head? Please.
This is the 5th state park here in Florida we've done on this spring break tour. This will be our last. We're heading home straight from here. So I'm at Florida Caverns State Park, and we're joined a tour here. We're about to head down into the caverns.
Mommy, can you carry me? Daddy, now can you carry me?
Well, probably won't be able to film with the GoPro in the caverns, but we'll see how it I'll check in afterwards.
Hello.
Hello.
Whoever you.
Tried to aim back from the tour for a second because there's good light in here. Awesome limestone cave. Ancient seabed. There's been lots of shells in the ceiling that were cemented into this sedimentary rock. Pretty cool.
As I go up, sinks in and say hi. Now, did you guys notice a temperature change? That is because right behind you guys is our only natural airway. This wire bats come in and out of it. Our tricolor bats eat about 500 mosquitoes per hour. As we continue to walk forward, make sure you guys watch your step.
It's really awesome in caverns to be able to see kind of how color, where color comes from. You know, we studied the visible light spectrum in first quarter in my class and talked about how different chemicals produce pigments that are designed to absorb or reflect different wavelengths of light. In rocks, it's the different minerals that give them their colors. So just in this area, you've got some of the dark red, almost dark brown splotches, which are from iron as a mineral inside of the limestone. Some of the lighter brown sections back in here is manganese. And then any of the white sections that you might see in this cave are usually from quartz or quartzite. So different minerals are going to give different colors out of the rock. It's all from the same rock, all out of this limestone, but inside of that limestone rock are different minerals, and they interact with the water. They dissolve in the water, become soluble. They flow with the water along the edges of rock. And then as the water moves on or evaporates, it deposits those minerals on the face of the rock. Really cool. I'm probably a couple minutes behind the tour, so I better catch up.